Fee, fi, fo, fum. It's Thursday night. It's the Man United agenda. We've got a great show for all of you, and I've even found the intro. Well. Good evening, everyone. How are you? Let's start off with our panel. Tonight I'm joined by Rebel and Dora. We'll start with Rebel, leave the best till last. How are you? How are you, Rebel?
Ooh! Here, do you know what? I'm not going to say anything because I don't want you sending your legion of rubber duckies after me, so I'm going to be a very nice rebel today, and I'm going to play nice.
Yeah, you're very pleased with this joke about my rubber duckies. It's quite a funny image. Dora, you haven't been on for a while, but it's always a delight to have you on. How are you? What have you been up to? Let's catch up.
Yeah, I've been, having a time off from United. In terms of sports, I've been, following NBA, EuroLeague a bit, and I'm waiting for Croatia to barely qualify for Euros because they fucked up last 2 games. I'm sorry for my language, but I need to say it like it is.
No, you don't need to say it like that. We get told off by Solo because of people's potty mouths. You can't.
Oh, sorry.
Please.
I will expand my vocabulary and say they threw those 2 games away. So now they need to, save their whole, qualification, season, I would say, to Euros in these 2 last games, and I'm waiting for that. So yeah, I've been really good. Thank you for having me, and I've been really excited to come back once again.
Yes, it's always a delight to have you on, Dora. And do we have any comments this evening, Rebel? Is anyone watching?
We have a few already. There is 9 in the chat, but Vincent Bullock is saying, "Hello guys, how are we doing?" He also has a comment about our former CEO, which I won't read due to some wording. Reggie WWE 2K saying, "Good evening, peeps. How are you? SAF back to United. Is it a good thing or a bad thing? What would he oversee? How would it work? Is it bye-bye ETH?" We'll get into that maybe later on. Vincent Bullock has a question for Bat Time. He's saying, "Bat Time, since you're a muggle, what is the function of your rubber duckies?"
I mean, a muggle's a Harry Potter, isn't it? I have to say, Vincent, I'm not completely sure what the function of a rubber ducky is beyond cosmetic. It squeaks and things, but I don't. But it's not like a life aid. I don't need one. I'm not a very good swimmer, but I don't need them in the bath so I don't drown or anything. So I hope that reassures you.
Actually, funnily enough, there is a rubber ducky shop in the tourist town that I'm from, and they sell Donald Trump ducks at 20 quid a pop. But that's beside the point. Football United TV is in the building. How are you doing, sir? Subvids is also in the building. Evening, he's saying. Matty Bassett is saying good evening to us. And big up to everyone on the show and in the chat. Box is saying, "Is there any truth in the rumours Vaughan is in talks to join the Radcliffe Revolution? You'll have to wait and see. We can't disclose any information at this time." And Richie has some comments that are for Bat Time's eyes only. And Emma Kay just says hello as well, by the way.
Hello, Emma Kay. Okay, good stuff. So just before we start on the show tonight, I just want to talk to a few people here. A lot of people sometimes send me clips of other shows and things, and I'm very well aware that other people try and do stuff like the eye test. We don't care. It was a show we did a while ago. We're more concerned about the content we produce, being honest, truthful, doing all our research and stuff. So please stop sending me like stuff from other channels of stuff we've done. It doesn't matter. All right, so I'm glad I got that out of the way. This is our show tonight, everyone. Rebel's going to be telling us about the takeover, and then we've got some stats and some pictures and images to talk about what is going on with Man United, and we're going to be comparing statistics from the last 3 seasons to see if the team has actually improved. And then, if we've got time, we're going to discuss who our best side will be until, Martinez and Casemiro come back from injury in January. So that is the content we have for you tonight. So, Rebel, would you like to take it away on what's going on with the takeover?
Absolutely, and now I will warn that it is a bit mundane and a bit drab. There's not a whole lot of meaty, juicy information to come out to you about. Sky have been covering various bits and bobs with regards to the finances over the course of the day. Cavi went into depth with that. I'm not going to touch that. That's a separate issue. But we did get reports that Murtaugh is going to follow Arnold to the exit door. Nothing confirmed in the lines that Arnold was confirmed with last night because they find that SEC form. But it is expected that he will depart under whatever the new regime looks like. Now, I think it's important to stress that, again, we are still operating under NDA in terms of takeover. It's very hard to kind of pin your colours to the mast in any particular story that has come out with regards to percentages or any of the rest of that business. But they're obviously going to speculate on who's going to be replacing Arnold, who's potentially in the frame to replace Murtaugh. But the bottom line is, depending on who you believe, one is saying the takeover could take 6 to 8 weeks, depending on how quickly it goes through regulation, and others are saying it's going to happen during international break. It remains to be seen what is the truth.
Yeah, good stuff. I don't want to spend a huge amount of time talking on the takeover, but Dora, do you have any thoughts on Arnold? Arnold's been confirmed to be leaving. Murtaugh heavily rumoured. What are you thinking at the moment?
Well, I'm glad something is changing at this club because, we already know that Glazers are not, going out of the club that soon. 25% of Ratcliffe, I was skeptical, but, if this move is going to kickstart more movement in the Manchester United front office, I welcome it with my open arms. I think Arnold and Murtaugh, even though most of the fan base was telling, Murtaugh stuff, Murtaugh madness with signing, those players. I was once again skeptical because I didn't like their lack of experience in the job. I wanted a proper director of football. I wanted proper football people who actually know what they're doing. And unfortunately, they were not cut out for this, job and the size of this club, because this club has been, you need some proper people to actually do the job at Manchester United at this moment, because nothing is really well at the moment. The structure isn't good. And even though they did some good things, I think that negative things that they, kind of overwhelmed their good, positive stuff. For me personally, as an outsider, as a Manchester United fan looking from the outside. So yeah, I'm glad that we are making changes, and hopefully we will get some proper football people in the club.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Rebel, what are the lovely people in chat saying? And Dora, you can reply to any comment that intrigues you.
Okay, thank you.
So we have Matty Bassett saying, let's talk about the developments regarding Murtaugh and what's next for the infrastructure. Matthew, maybe you could.
There. Oh,
yeah.
Yes, Rebel, are you going to say what I'm going to say?
Yeah, I'll let you do it.
We did 4 hours, Matthew. 4 bloody hours we did on all the people coming in who we thought was going to take over. Dora was there for that show. We did it really in depth, and we're really proud of the content that we've done over the takeover, because it's been really well researched. We haven't lied and said, that we know that the Qataris next door to me have told me that it's definitely happening and things like that. This weekend, I think that me and Rebel are going to do some financial digging, as we expect that there will be lots of news coming out on Sunday. So we're kind of saving that for next week, as we expect loads more developments. Because at the moment, there's not really much that we can say about it. I mean, like Rebel, unless you've got anything you'd like to add.
All I would say is, on top of what you covered, a lot of was what I was going to reply to, but I will ask him and the chat, who would they like to see as CEO, who would they like to see as director of football, and we might skim over that at the end of the show. But moving swiftly along, Box is saying he hopes that Fletcher gets a ambassadorial role if he's removed from his current role. Reggie is saying about the Glazers taking X amount of money. Again, this is unconfirmed as to what exactly is the makeup, so I suppose it'd only be speculation at this point if we were to discuss that point of view. Vincent is saying, big up to United's agenda and its content. Do you see other channels getting Jimmy Murphy's grandson on? Absolutely not. Anything you want to add to that one, lads?
I actually watched that stream afterwards. I actually teared up. It was really emotional, even for a foreigner fan as me. So yeah, I absolutely loved that stream. It was beautiful seeing someone coming here and showcasing their love for United and being from a grandson of Jimmy Murphy. I mean, it was such an amazing stream. So big up lights for that.
Yeah, it was an absolute honour, and thank you so much, Vincent, for sorting that out for us. And I think that we might be seeing him returning again soon. At least I certainly hope so, but maybe when there's more football to talk about.
Very true. Box is saying, agreed, get proper people into their proper roles. Zoe is saying, life under Ed Woodward was bad. I won't finish that one, Zoe. The club could have paid the debt off its. The club could have paid off debt itself. I presume Reggie's talking about the earning power of Manchester United Football Club and the fact that we do not need a sugar daddy. We just need to be debt free in order to operate efficiently. More than likely, if I haven't inferred you correctly, I apologise. Vincent Bullock saying. Something about the fans and them not being true fans. I'll let them have that discussion themselves. And finally, just to say hello to Big G, he's saying hello to the BATHTIME, the Minty, and the Explorer. And any comments on this one, just to finish off on this topic? He's saying Edwin van der Sar, CEO, Paul Mitchell, Director of Football, and Edwards as Technical Director.
I've got two issues there. The first one is I'm not sure how Edwin van der Sar's doing at the moment. He had a brain aneurysm not too long ago.
In Croatia, actually. He was in Split.
Another reason never to visit.
Yeah, I mean, they did a really good job, doctors in Split. So yeah, kudos to them. But yeah, I mean, he's not really well after best. But one cannot be really well after that situation. So yeah.
Yeah, we wish him all the best, and shout out to all those Croatian doctors that sorted him out. The thing is, Matthew, is that Blanc is. I would bet my house, your house, everyone's house on Blanc being the CEO, because he left Paris Saint-Germain about a month after United were put up for sale. Ineos have been planning this pretty well. Paul Mitchell as well left his job around a similar point. I think that Blanc will be our CEO. Mitchell, very likely to be director of football, although one thing I find quite interesting, right, Dora, you can help me out with this. I don't know how I feel about Alex Ferguson's influence at the club still. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but Dougie Freedman scream like he's been linked as director of football and he's done a good job at Crystal Palace. It screams to me of Fergie's influence, Dougie Freedman.
I heard about that.
Yeah, and also Michael Edwards, he's absolutely fantastic, but he's a Liverpool man to me, and not for me. So I think Blanc, Mitchell, and Beresford and all these other people would be my guess. Yeah, Bike Boy. Yeah,
Bike Boy.
I can't say his name.
I think there's one thing that's important to actually mention is Blanc is actually the sporting CEO of Ineos, so he's a current employee of Ineos.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, that is really important, and I mean, huge experience in football, outside of football. But the main thing for me is he rebuilt Juventus, and he built them a stadium after Calciopoli. I genuinely don't think that there's a better person coming in to the football club, and I'm really excited about this. It feels to me like a new dawn, and I really hope it is. But unless there's anything else, Rebel, should we get on to some stats? Oh,
There's one more from Emma Kay, and we didn't get a comment from Amondi's favourite panelist in the chat in a while. Can't we have two directors of football, like having them working as a tandem?
I don't know. I mean, the first thing that springs to mind is, did Gerard Houllier, when he went to Liverpool, did they have like a joint manager or something? They had like two managers. I don't think it works having two people doing the same job. Like, I know the guys that directed the Avengers were brothers, but it rarely works out having two people to do the same thing. I think that what you'll get, Emma, is you will get Blanc, Beresford, and Mitchell essentially working as a team. You have the business side, the sporting side, and the sort of long-term planning side all together. And I'm really happy with all of that. It sounds great to me. I mean, I don't know what you think, Dora.
Yeah, I mean, we've done that stream. To be quite honest with you, I barely researched that before the stream, especially for those three candidates, and I bought into it. I think that what this club lacked is actually people who are experienced and specialized in, each component and category of, that kind of business, club business, and leading the football club. And you know what? They look qualified. And you know what? We've been screaming for experience and qualified people for years. And if this actually happens, I will be much more positive. I will expect a lot of positives coming from that trio.
Actually, there's one quote that we can finish up on from the French media, L'Equipe. And it refers to Jean-Claude Blanc. He is a bit like the Lionel Messi of the sports business. It's not only a question of expertise, but of interpersonal skills. He brings his vision, his network, his calm, and his expertise. And that was Fabrice Bourcois that said that.
I mean, when I think of Lionel Messi, the first thing that leaps to mind, interpersonal skills. Like, what an odd quote. But it's great, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
I think that these are the transfers that should be getting us excited. Not like some random left back you've never seen play come in, but a proper team. All right, should we move on to the main meat of the show?
See?
Yes.
All right, I'm just going to move some people around because your people's face gets covered by the comments, and I'm faceless. All right, first of all, I think I know what the answer is going to be. But in the last 5 games played in the Premier League, Manchester United have won 4 and lost 1 and are head of the form table. This isn't Photoshop. This is real. We are, for the last 5 games played, we've got the most amount of points. Rebel, let's start with you. Are we a team in form, and have we turned the corner?
I'm going to play devil's advocate to an extent on this one, and I'm going to play the card that the opposition fans would be putting in. But you only played these teams down towards the bottom end of the table, and you scrubbed past them. You didn't beat anybody above you, and once your games turn around, that form table is only going to be a snapshot in time during the season. However, I will say that given the injuries, given all the debacles that have happened at our club during the course of the season, to be where we are, which is 6-7 points beyond the running for the main European spots, you have to say credit where it's due.
Dora, are we a team in form? Is this the pinnacle of football that we're seeing?
I mean, I agree with Rebel in an extent that, I think that this club has been in a really sticky situation. I think the squad has been having, a mare in the locker room, especially with Sancho situation, Anthony situation, and you know what, all those leaks that I absolutely hate. Every time there is a crisis, there is a locker room leak. And the injuries, I think they are always a massive part of why one team cannot perform. But and I will be honest, even though I'm mostly, I'm trying to be realistic, I'm leaning more towards the more negative side, which I really don't like. But, supporting United over the years kind of made me a bit jaded. But, I really like with the way I love that we got, for example, against Luton. We didn't play exceptionally well, but we got 3 points. The same goes for Fulham game. The one before Manchester City, I forgot. But you know what? Getting 3 points from 4 games or 5 and losing, against City, which we all due respect, to Manchester United, I think most of the fan base, kind of expected that we were going to lose to City. So I think I'm glad. I'm happy in that, sense that, even though we are in shambles, we are ridiculed, we are, very poor, we are getting points. And to me, at this moment in time, that's the most important thing. Now, is this going to be sustainable? I don't think so. But I mean, even the style of play to me is non-existent. I think that the squad players that came in instead of the starting 11, some of the starting 11 players are not performing, with the exceptions of McTominay, Maguire, and I would even. I mean, those two are my worst nightmare. I wanted them gone, but you know what? If we don't going to perform, you know what? My arms are open, my eyes are wide open, my arms are wide open. I will welcome it at this moment.
Is your heart wide open? Are you ready to accept Scott McTominay into your life?
We will see. But yeah, I mean, even now, we are having Eriksen and Højlund injured. So when is it going to stop? I'm glad with the way we are getting points. I think that we are not playing with full potential. I think that we are massively underperforming. But with everything that Rebel said, and the atmosphere around the club, I think that's kind of expected. I think we are actually doing better in that those terms, better than I think most of the fan base expected.
Yeah, I would agree. I just so there are a couple of things about how we're playing. We are playing like a relegation team at the moment.
Exactly. Agreed.
We're like this form is not even though we're top of the form table, it's not going to win you anything. Like the way we're playing. We're having to go back to basics, safety first, to get us through like a rough time. And my concern would be, what happens when we start trying to play Erik Ten Hag football again? Do we struggle? Do we huff and we puff and we get beaten? Like, we just get cut through in the midfield by mediocre teams. And I also think that these are sort of false stats, right? Because I had a look at the table, and I know that this is difficult to see. But I've got expected goals against, and expected points. Manchester United should have scored roughly 26 goals, and we've scored 13. Right, so we've scored 13 goals, and we're massively underperforming on that. But the thing that really comes out to me is our defence is underperforming, but we've somehow managed to get almost 5 more points than we should have. And if we were going off these statistics, Manchester United would be in about 13th place in the table. And to be honest, I think that is quite reflective of what I'm seeing on the football pitch. I think we are playing very poor football. I don't think that we're performing well as a team. And I think that really it's McTominay, Højlund and Maguire that are getting us through at the moment. And I'm extremely concerned. But enough from me, Rebel. What do the comments have to say?
We do have a few that that have a few points to make. Montreal, MUFC. Is it good morning to you over there at this stage of the morning? I remember us having a couple of long strings of 1-0 wins under Fergie. Not the prettiest football, but it's preferable to anything else that would make us look vulnerable. And I suppose we always had the 1-0 to the Arsenal song when we were growing up as well. Do you want to touch on that, Bath Time?
Right. Okay. I suppose the thing is that we're in and around like the places where we sort of want to be. We're in sixth at the moment. We want to be like a minimum of fifth this season to get Champions League, and that means that we get more money in financial fair play in order to sort of expand the squad a little bit. So by keeping it tight and just getting a nick and a 1-0 win here or there is fine, and it keeps us in the conversation. But when you play with fine margins and 1-0s, you are risking it. Like, you're really risking it. Like, I think that Montreal is probably referring to the season Newcastle bottled hit, and did we get 8 1-0 wins in a row? Cantona was nicking goals all the time. We went on a great run, Dora, and it was by very small margins that we won. I think that it's different because I just don't think that, even though we're nicking 1-0s, I don't think that we're forming the basis of a sound foundation for a team that can kick on, play more expansive football, look after the ball better. I think that this is pretty much the top of what they can manage at the moment.
Fair enough. Box is casting aspersions towards the longevity and the ability of French players to perform. We won't say any more than that. Big G is saying the only stat that counts is the league table. The stats quoted are meaningless.
Cheers.
I'll come back to Zoe's Zoe's question there in a second, but I did want to highlight because Man United Agenda did mention that Cristiano Ronaldo, the Thanos of international football at this stage, has scored yet another international goal, which now brings him to 128 goals in 204 games for Portugal. And given, as you rightly said earlier on, Bathine, that our attack is as sharp as a butter knife, are we missing him?
Well, I mean, I'd much prefer it if you brought up that Scott McTominay has now got 7 in 7 from midfield and is the leading goal scorer in the qualifiers ahead of Ronaldo. I don't care about Cristiano Ronaldo at this moment in time. He's not a Manchester United player. I hope that he can come back to the club under better circumstances. I really hope the takeover people, that two things they do is organise a testimonial for David De Gea in the summer to give him a send-off, and they bring Ronaldo back the second they get rid of Ten Hag, so he can begin to repair bridges that he's burnt, because he is a legend of football, and I don't like how it ended for him, but I don't care about him scoring for Portugal, to be perfectly honest.
Emma Kay is saying hallelujah to the altar of Scotty McSauce. Dior is in the building saying we don't look like handing anyone a battering. Montreal is saying yes, it was back in 1996 that we had the big chunk of 1-0 wins. Box is saying that he would take 1-0 wins over Everton, Galatasaray and Newcastle at the international break. But the one that we're finishing on in this section is a question from Zoe Media House. Are the team in form, or have fans been listening to too much anti-Manchester United negative narrative media? Example, Sky Sports, i.e. she's suggesting media manipulation. I would let you in the comments decide whether that is the case. But Bathime, back to you.
I'm very interested by Zoe's question. I think, Dora, do you think that that we're actually bloody brilliant as a football club, and it's just how it's being reported?
No, I think that anyone who is following this club more than 10 years, and has witnessed how this club was, winning trophies and all of that, I mean, everyone can see that this club is not in a good shape, and that Manchester United has been, salvaging seasons, or how do you say, papering over the cracks. Even though I agree that I think for years this has been the case for years, and I mean you don't have to you don't need Gary Neville or Jamie Carragher or whoever is on that Sky Sports or any, or even the fan channels. I mean, I've been seeing some popular fan channels being extremely negative in bashing everything related to Manchester United, even though they are saying that they are Manchester United supporters. They are extremely negative, but once again, if that can steer your point of view of the club, I don't think I don't think your opinion is valid. Like, I mean, I know that the club is not in good hands. It has this has been a case for more than a decade, and you could see sporadic decline of the club over the last more than 10 years. So yeah, I don't think the Sky Sports and the fan channels are necessarily uh, influencing the negativity around the club, because at the end of the day, we are United are Manchester United. Everything that happens, the media will follow. It doesn't matter if it's positive, if it's negative. When we were on the top, they were saying that refs are on United side, that the FA is on Manchester United side, this and that. When we are down, people are saying, oh, they're shit, the players are overrated, blah, blah, blah. It is what it is, right? It's always going to be, a change of the narrative around Manchester United. In my opinion, it doesn't matter that if it's, if the club is on top or on the bottom. But, I mean, it is a valid point. It is a valid point. Some people are, I don't know how to say it in English, but they believe everything that is spewed on the TV. But watch the games, watch Manchester United in the last 10 years, and you will see a sporadic decline of this club. And trust me, the media is not, how do you say it? They're not 1,000 IQ because they are spewing negativity in media. Trust me. When you're a fan of this club, you kind of see a lot of things from different perspectives, and you kind of realize what is really happening.
Rebel, do you agree?
Yeah, I think it might be even fair to say, obviously we know that Pochettino had his struggles for Chelsea this year, but he didn't get his name put up in lights on the big billboards with all the shiny neon around it, because it's not a sexy enough story. People aren't interested in Chelsea. They're not interested in clubs that don't kind of generate major revenue. And talking about Manchester United Football Club and making speculation to declines or players under pressure, managers under pressure, it prints money for these industries. So maybe it's a case that Manchester United is a victim of its own size and its own public image, that's what sells for those companies. And when you try to have the same narrative about Chelsea, about a Tottenham Hotspur, nobody cares.
Yeah.
Seagulls follow the trailer. But I'll tell you what, one thing that's quite interesting is earlier on, was it Big G who said that statistics absolutely useless?
Yeah.
The reason we use statistics is that they help us see past our bias, which could be from personal experience or from whatever. So I have some statistics for you that I think are quite interesting. So these are actually really, really detailed stats. And you can see that Manchester United are like towards the end of the table. I've done this based on possession. So in the first column, you can see the amount of possession that each team has had this year. Field tilt is quite an interesting statistic. Field tilt is the amount of possession that you have in the opponent's final third. So that's like, so the higher your field tilt, the more likely you are to score a goal. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Yeah. XT, XTA, expected threat, XG, you all know. Def line is the distance in meters that the line is holding. And then you have the opposition defensive line, which is the average distance in meters that their defensive line is positioned at. Build-up percentage is the amount of successful passes played in the first third, and goalkeeper progression is the average distance in meters a team can get up the pitch after a goal kick. So it's not necessarily like just booting it. It means like their passing play up. So I know that these are pretty detailed stats. Is everyone fairly clear with what each one means?
More or less, yes.
Okay, that's what I used to say that in Spanish when I didn't understand something. Okay, so with possession, we're at 54% for this season. Is that right? Is this good enough?
Rebel, please.
Well, I suppose when you look at your possession and when you look at the couple of Champions League finals we played against Barcelona, Barcelona dominated the possession, and when you have the possession, you're forcing that other team to think about how they position themselves, and you have the opportunity to hurt them. Against the bigger sides, maybe 50% is fine, but against your Luton Towns, your lower end of the Premier League table, these teams typically are going to be setting up to, as BATHTIME loves to call, the low block, and making it difficult for you to score. But the reality is, against those teams, you should have the ball way more than you shouldn't, because they should only be hitting you on the break. So considering that Manchester United Football Club is probably not having the low block set up against them as much by the lower sides, because they're not afraid of the attack. So I would say that is very concerning, because that should be a stat against your top six, not against your overall Premier League.
Okay, now Dora, I want you to look at our field tilt, which is 56.37. That means that when we have possession, only 56% of the time is it in the final third, where we can really begin to create. When you look at Arsenal and Man City, who we're trying to catch, basically, they're let's just say that City are at 70 and Arsenal at 72%. That they have 20 more percent of greater possession stats in more dangerous areas. I mean, does this show how nice Big G? Does this show how far behind we are the big teams, or should we be looking at teams like Tottenham, who are being lauded to the next galaxy about how good they are, when they actually have very similar possession and field tilt statistics to us?
I mean, it is concerning. It's always concerning seeing us being, below average or average, and seeing the attackers this season and how the attack overall plays this season. I think it's a concern, and to me, it's not that surprising. With our, even in the dangerous situations when we are trying to put the ball in the the opposition box, you could see that the players are, in most cases, they don't know what to do with the ball. They're overpassing. They don't know how to pass. They are misplacing passes, shots. I think we are very poor and not very productive in that sense. And then when you combine that with the statistics of our attackers scoring exactly 1 or 2 goals in the last 15 games or whatever, I think Victor Lindelof scored against Luton Town. Our attackers once again didn't score anything. Marcus Rashford has 1 goal against Arsenal, and that's all. And that's a concern, because I'm curious about your opinion, Bedtime, because I've been seeing at times when we are chasing the game, and that happened a lot, and even when we kind of when we kind of put our how do you say, foot off the gas in the first 20 minutes, we are seeing the same play, right? We are seeing us, circling around the box, doing absolutely nothing with the ball. People are too static, and then all of a sudden the ball goes to Dalot or the left back, and then they are crossing in the box. The cross doesn't work. The opposition cleans out the possession, and then rinse and repeat until we concede finally from their counter attack. That happened a lot this season. I mean, even in the first game against Wolverhampton, we saw that even though we won that game, we saw that the opposing teams, even the lesser teams that we consider lesser teams, are much more productive with their, they read our game right, they read our gameplay immediately. Immediately they are, kickstarting the counterattack, and they are breaking us, in the middle of the field. So I'm curious if this, of course, the lack of the goals from the attackers, of course, the form and everything that happened in the club, is it on Ten Hag actually that he cannot, how do you say it? He cannot organize a proper possession attacking, possession. And to me, it seems that this is a manager and coach problem as well. Of course, the players are at fault. They're not informed. They're not scoring, even clear-cut chances. Because I saw some clear-cut chances even against Luton Town, Garnacho, Rashford. Everyone, missed, open goals. But is this a problem as well? Does Ten Hag need, do something immediately for that to change? Because this is really poor. 56%. I mean, it's like we are, I don't know, it's like we don't have anyone. We are consistently circling around the opposition box, doing absolutely nothing in front of the goal. How do you change it?
Okay. Well, I mean, first of all, when you look at the stats, Ten Hag was brought in to be an attacking, high possession manager who would play a certain type of football. We don't dominate possession. It's essentially 50-50. We don't access the final third with the limited possession we have. And if you look at the expected goals and the expected goals against, we're not creating enough chances and we're too open because the XG is, the expected goals against is higher than expected goals. So you're going to lose more football matches than you're going to win with those kind of statistics. We also have an incredibly deep defensive line compared to everyone else, and I completely understand if you say that's because Evans and Maguire have been brought in to play. But for me, Dora, what we're doing right as a football team is that when we play against a low block, which is where a team sort of camps just outside the box and denies space, there are three ways you can beat a block. You go around it, you go over it, or you go through it. When you play a low block, you can't go over it. Right, you can only go around or through. So what United do is they just move the ball from side to side, and they're doing it slowly on purpose because as the block moves across, it doesn't all move at the same speed. So they're hoping that a gap is going to open up by going from side to side, and then the crosses. In the Ten Hag system, the crosses are meant to come from the half space, which is kind of just in front of the penalty area. And since Casemiro is not in the team, we hardly put any in. So we're just really, really slow with our possession. And I personally believe it's because players aren't running enough. Because in his system, okay, he wants 5 players in attack and 5 players in defence. The 5 players in attack have got to be 2 wide, 1 central, and 2 just off the central person, like trying to exploit the channel. Those players are always static. They never move, they never rotate with each other. And for example, Højlund, he never comes to receive the ball when we're in the final third. He's always making runs over the top, and that means that Bruno cannot go. He can't run forwards. He's got to stay behind, but he doesn't. He just does what he wants to do. And I think it's a combination of players not being familiar with the system, but also I think a lot of them are hiding. And I think that this is why players like McTominay and Garnacho have got in the team, because they're willing to do the running. They hold their position when they need to, and then they do the running. And I just don't. I'm not saying Scott McTominay is the future of Manchester United, But he's one of the only people in the team that's doing it at the moment. And I just hope that the manager and the players can look at him and find some sort of motivation in order to try and play better football. Because what these stats are saying on the screen is diabolical, right? It's absolute for the money that we've spent, for the talent that we've got. Like Harry Maguire on the ball has only ever got one option, and it's Garnacho to hit that long pass to Garnacho. How many times do you see him hit that long pass to Rashford?
Never.
It's because Rashford doesn't hold his position properly. And that's an example of like why there are people in the team that are not running and are not doing what they're told to. But could we see some comments, Rebel?
We can indeed, and I do want to put one question to the chat for them to ponder while we run through it. Is it a case that Dallow's non-performance this year is because he's missing the Batman to his Robin in Luke Shaw? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. But going on to the next comment, let me just scroll down here just a small bit. I want to say a big hello to the other Irish person in the chat. Teddy, how are you doing? Andrew Williams is typically late, so that's 5 demerit points for you. He says, I do like possession football, but we don't seem capable of dominating a game. Dora, this one's a comment for you. Are you turning into a true Vaughan believer? Are you getting into that bat?
Yeah. I came here to learn.
Oh, Dora, please.
Montreal is telling us, I wonder how many of our current players are just simply incapable of surviving a possession-based style of football. Is that something that needs to be addressed? Do you want to come in on that one, or will I move on?
I think that there could be that might be a show, innit? Like Dora, who do you think can play Ten Hag's style of football in the first team squad?
You want me to name those players?
Give me the midfield first. Like, just give me the midfield.
Of what I saw, I think that's Bruno. I think that McTominay, even though he hides a lot and he only has 3 touches per game, but he scores goals. We need him. At this moment, I think McTominay. I think at this moment, McTominay, Bruno. I think Hannibal, with his energy and his willingness to run a lot, even though he's not the best on the ball, I think that can always improve with the coaching and everything else. I'm trying to think a lot. I didn't see that much of Kobe Mainu to say, oh my God, I know people are, oh my God, he was so good against Arsenal in the preseason. Like, who cares? Leave that kid alone. Like, I mean, we are banking on a 19-year-old kid to save our season because our senior players in the midfield cannot do, proper, simple, how do you say it? They're not following the manager and his tactics and strategy. And now we are banking on a 90-year-old kid. I haven't seen enough. I need more of that kid. I need him to progress properly in the squad to judge. But yeah, I as I said, I think Hannibal, McTominay, and Bruno Fernandes are the only ones that can do that type of Ten Hag style of play, where he needs a lot of energy, a lot of high press, and be a good on the ball. I think Bruno has that potential, but he needs to be coached as well, in my opinion, at times.
So Casemiro, Mount, Eriksen?
Maybe Mount, but I don't think Mount is a number 8. I think he needs to be further up, and I feel bad for the guy. I want him to succeed at this club. I think he has, he's putting in an effort and all that, but after seeing, I think that after Ten Hag, said, put him at number 8 and saw that it won't work, I don't think that guy has, at this moment in time, I don't think he has a place in this team. I don't know. I don't think that he knows what his position is in this team and what his role. And I think that's really concerning. I would love for
poor
him
management.
I think so as well. I think it is.
Okay.
Improve recruitment.
Yeah, that money should have been somewhere else. Have we got any comments, Rebel, that are fun?
We have a metric ton of comments, so I'll try and
Yes.
blast through as many of these as possible. So M&K is telling us this season is not that concerning for me in all honesty. We overachieved and overperformed last season. We were bound to be worse in that second season, so second season syndrome. Montreal MUFC, Rashford had a criminal miss against Luton Town, so he's suggesting maybe clap him in irons. Zoe Media House says she's been watching a lot of Luton all season because of Chung, and to be fair, she says they have been real unlucky in their games. Big G is saying, if I'm honest, I don't like the ticky-tack football. Bring back the byline wingers. I'm old-fashioned, I know. So back to 4-4-2 maybe he's looking for.
I
Uh,
agree with Big G. Our team is not built for possession football. It's built for a
Agreed.
different style called relationship football, which is, if you think of like Cole and York, they always played on diagonals. And like Beckham and Keane were on diagonals, Scholes and Cole were on diagonals. They all got around each other, and they were able to sort of like keep the ball safely, but like launch quickly, and everyone would go. And I just think that the possession football that we're playing, it's the synthesis of whatever Pep gets up to in the bedroom. Just like years of his alchemy has been distilled into this Man City team, and we're all trying to copy it. But you're not going
Yeah.
to beat the master. Like, I don't think Arteta's had to change his football from Pep's football, but Ten Hag is just. I think that he's got to, like. I just don't think it's ever going to work trying to play possession football in the Premier League going up against Guardiola. It's madness to me.
so, oh, Vincent Bullock saying we're basically going to need to speed up the stop. Box is saying that he was impressed when Shaw deputised at centre back. Eddie's football waffle is saying that he's dropping his customary like, and we do appreciate you, Eddie. And if you haven't seen some of his videos, he is very funny and very comedic in some of his analysis. So do check him out. Zoe's Media House, isn't McTominay close to his testimonial numbers? So another one that could be due a day out in the lights of Old Trafford. Box saying, all hail Emperor Manu, he's going to lead us to the title. Zoe's saying Donny's the only one who knows how to play the Ten Hag way.
Honestly, I forgot about this guy. I'm
Do
so
you not
sorry.
remember
Donny.
what? Do you remember what Ten Hag said about Donny when he wasn't Man United manager? He said it was a mortal sin what Manchester United had done to Donny van der Beek, and now he doesn't care, doesn't want him in the team.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
But you know, though, that time you'd have to wonder, though, was there so much damage done to Donny between the Donny that left Ten Hag at Ajax and the Donny that confronted him in training? He's going, I don't even know this guy. Who is this player that's in front of me? Because it's not the Donny van der Beek I had.
I put it on Donny van der Beek myself. Like, you've got to have fire and you've got to have determination to get in the team. And you look at someone who everyone seems to think is a limited footballer in McTominay. He's come on, he's grabbed the shirt, he's not let it go, he's contributing. Donny van der Beek, I think he scored on his debut against Newcastle as a sub, and he got one back against Watford in Ollie's last game. But he's never showed like the fire that you need to be a top player in the Premier League for me, and I put that on him rather than anyone else.
Agreed.
Andrew Williams is nailing his colours to the mast now, saying wasn't Mount will be our number 10 next season. Okay, and actually that's an interesting one on Danny. Wasn't he a Ballon d'Or nominee under Eric Ten Hag in his original stint?
Yeah, maybe, but what do you have to do to be a Ballon d'Or nominee? I mean, I'm going to say I'm a Ballon d'Or nominee. Like, none of it makes any sense, that thing. A couple of people voted for him. I wouldn't read a lot into that, to be honest.
Fair enough. Andrew Williams is saying, so true what you're saying about Pep McMimicry. And Montreal, and this is our final comment for the moment. The problem is no one is emulating the formula that destroyed Guardiola football. Whether that is Bayern's 2013 or Real Madrid's in the 2010s, nobody has put forward that blueprint.
Or Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who also has the best record against Pep Guardiola.
Yeah.
Right, what's next? We're running out of time. Okay, probably not interesting to everyone, but I looked at the detailed stats between each season, going all the way back to 2021, to see if there was any improvement at all. And basically, it's decreased we've got worse. Like you can see, this season we've got a little bit more ball possession, and that's a little bit further in the up the pitch. Not much, but a little bit. But we're also far more open. You can see like our expected goals was 1.18 against last year. That's gone up by 0.3, and our expected goals has gone down by 0.3. So we're 0.3 less likely to score, but 0.3 more likely to concede. Our line is lower. Like the only thing that's really changed is that our build-up with the goalkeeper is better, but that cost us 50 million with Onana. So I personally think that since Ten Hag has come in, there hasn't been any real sort of like statistical evidence the team has improved beyond getting like the Carabao Cup, I suppose. Rebel, do you think that we've improved? And people in comments, do you think that we've improved?
Okay, I'm going to get the excuse book out and get those out of the way because somebody has to come in with the devil's advocate points. On Onana, you could argue, yes, it cost us 50 million, but how many millions over the lifetime of his contract have we saved in wages? So you have to kind of weigh that counterpoint against the Onana initial outlay. Whether or not it adds up, that's a decision for everybody individually to make. But has the team improved? What you have to look at, and I'm going to take a big block of time since the day that Alex Ferguson and Dave Gill retired. We've had multiple different managers. We have people that may or may not have been able to do the job of work that they need to do at director level. Whether or not you believe that is the case is again a decision for yourself. We've been buying players for different team styles because we had the ultra defensive managers in your Louis van Gaals, your Jose Mourinho's, and there was always a question of whether or not they were players that they wanted. So what we have left now is kind of a hodgepodge of a squad that is trying to square peg its way into a round hole of the system of the manager of the day. And some of them may or may not be able to produce in the way that the manager and his coaching staff would like. And maybe there's an element of frustration building up in regards to their on-field performances. So that's the excuse book out of the way. Whether or not the manager has improved our squad, arguably you could say that Anthony has been a disappointment. Casemiro has been a one-season wonder thus far. We have yet to see him appear like he was last season on the pitch. Mount hasn't been seen for days on the United pitch, and apparently he, according to some rival fans, was the last piece in the jigsaw, and our attack is as blunt as a spark. So have we improved? No. Am I panicking? No.
Dora?
I think in terms of the results, I think we improved massively between 21, 22 and 22, 23 season, which is obvious. We finished, 7th during that disastrous Ragnik Ola season. Ten Hag came in. I think he kind of, showcase. I think he sold the style of play, or quote unquote style of play, because I think that we played the same as we did under Ole, with more organization, with counter-attacking and better possessions and more direct football. I don't think that Ten Hag fundamentally changed the style of football from his previous colleagues, I would say. But I think he organized the team. I think he put some. I think he put some fundamentals, quote unquote, with his, especially with his signings. With the likes of Martinez and Casemiro and the others. But I mean, when you look at this team, I agree with Rebel. I think that this squad is massively overrated. Not just in terms of the money we spent on them, because no one besides the negotiators and Arnold and Murto or whoever was, or that guy Hagreaves and whoever is dealing with buying players from other clubs. I don't think the players control that, but we obviously see that those players that we acquired in the last few years, they are massively overrated, and they are just not built up to play in the Premier League, not just for Manchester United, but in the Premier League overall. I think that as that last season was refreshing. It was great. I enjoyed it most of the time, besides those huge defeats against Liverpool and City, but which I want to forget, but I cannot, and I will put that above manager's head for a very long time if he stays. Yeah, I forgive, but I don't forget, unfortunately. And yeah, I think overall this team should play much better on the paper. But the paper is one thing, eye test is another thing, and I think that those two, especially in point of view of Manchester United, it doesn't work. I think that Ten Hag is not at fault for everything that happened. I think the squad and the players are not good enough, but I think he needs to clean up the mess, because this is not sustainable, and we are going to get worse and worse.
Okay, great. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're just coming to the end of the show. What have we got next? Oops, how did that get in there? It's Eric Ten Hag, everyone. I made this.
That time, is that you in the background behind him? Up on top of the shelf?
Yeah, that looks like Peter Cech, doesn't it, with his helmet?
Yes, a bit, yes.
Yeah, this is just a silly picture that I made. Do we have any comments before we go, Rebel?
We do indeed. First of all, there's a few that are absolutely laughing their keys off at Eric Ten Hag. They might be sending Agent 47 after him at this stage. Maybe that video game reference is lost on people. He was another bald man that was an assassin. But anyway, I want to go back to Big G, because this was one of two comments about the statistics pages. You're either going to need the Hubble telescope or a strong prescription from Specsavers to see those stats. Bat time is what they're saying.
Sorry, Big G.
Andy Williams saying we scored 73 goals in the COVID season. How?
I have a theory. No, I have a theory on this. I think because all the bloody players were locked up, they couldn't go to clubs, they couldn't go messing about. All they had was football, and I think that was them being true professionals and doing and being correct in how they should live their life and how they should perform. And that is the ceiling that they're capable of doing when they apply themselves with everything to Manchester United.
And would you say that the lack of a hostile away crowd, or a hostile crowd that you're playing away from home, was a factor?
Nah.
Zoe is pointing out, in January we lose Amrabat, Onana, and Hannibal. How concerned are you about those? That's the Specsavers comment again, and maybe the eye test should come back as sponsored by Specsavers. Sorry about that. I apologize. I had to do it. Yes, DK Casemiro was pretty much a late signing. I think we spent our summer faffing about after another midfielder, Frankie de Jong, and we failed miserably to get Frankie. But Casemiro said, "Yeah, no, I can fix that," and he was obviously looking at a young, hungry Real Madrid selection of midfielders that were slowly pushing him out of contention. So he decided it was time for him to move on. And I have Andy Wynn saying Mount is the one guy that I have lots of patience for. He is mentally very strong and he will come good. It is his nature. Montreal saying Peter Cech is enjoying his second career as a hockey goalie right now. I didn't know that.
Yeah, in England actually, English Hockey League.
DK is saying, damn bat time, absolutely savage. Teddy is saying, you told me last night that was you bat time.
That's not what I said last night, Teddy.
And bat time, I believe another panelist on this channel tried to claim your wonderful artwork as their own and purported that it was theirs on other social media platforms. Have you any comment on that?
Yeah, Omondi's a git, innit? He posted. I sent him that picture a week ago. I think I sent it to you as well, Dora. I was very pleased with myself with making Eric Ten Hag pictures. And Omondi posted it on his Facebook, claimed full credit and authorship, and I think he got thousands of likes. So he's absolutely delighted. And big up Omondi. Looking forward to seeing you coming back.
Yeah, we will be addressing the plagiarism next week when you do return on the Man United agenda. Big G saying, great point. I presume that is with regard to the professionalism. Emma K, it's definitely not all on the manager. The players may have to look like they are looking like they and the ball are opposing magnets. King Tishala, I disagree about time. The non-crowd factor was definitely a contributing factor for him. We have a lot of the same players, and now look how their bums go when the away crowd starts to I presume roar. We crumble everywhere, and Teddy is having her own little private conversation with Bat Time, and that is it from the comments.
Good stuff. Well, thank you very much. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I know that was a bit stats heavy. I thought it'd go a bit better, to be honest, but you live and you learn, innit? But I would like to thank Rebel so much for joining me and for sending me, helping me plan the show earlier during the day. And of course, it's always an absolute delight to have Dora on, and we hope that we can tempt her back next week with more pictures of Eric Ten Hag.
Well, if you send it and continue to send it in DMs, of course, maybe you tempt me. Slide into the DMs with Eric Ten Hag.
But Bat Time, who's Barbie in that situation at Manchester United?
Who would Barbie be? I mean, I've always thought Luke Shaw would make a good Ken. There's just something about him that's I don't know, who would Barbie be?
What about Cat and Reception?
No, I was thinking more McTominay or Casemiro. They go full. They always go into everything. Oh, Garnacho. Garnacho would be Barbie.
Not Anthony?
No, Anthony's evil Barbie. All right. Well, thanks everyone so much. Tomorrow, Mr. B will be on at 9:00 with a bumper takeaway show. What comment was that? Oh God, Big T. We did so well. All right, come and join Mr. B tomorrow night at 9:00. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday and have a great weekend. Good night, everyone.